Hello, everybody, and welcome to our on-air broadcast of our game, Duchess of Damascus, and the code we have behind it. Today we're going to be explaining some things we learned in sections 8, 9, and 10 of our Java programming class. Some different things we have here. Just to get things started off, we're going to start by explaining what Java beans are. And we'll start off with our buddy Bernardo.
That is right. As you remember, my computer broke, so my friend Steven and I are working on the same computer. So if we look back to the previous chapters of Java, we are taught that Java beans are basically encapsulated pieces of data that we use for a specific object. We tag these Java beans with the words private to make sure that no other objects make use of these variables. We make them serializable, and what this does basically is it will help us avoid bugs on our application. In this case, we're using the object map. So we want to use show location and movement. We want the object map to use it, yet we don't want any other object in the program to try to use that. Instance variables are variables that when we call them will create a object when we call them. And the static variables are the ones that will not create an object when we call them. In this case, if we go to program control and we look at our function create player, we have the word static player where we want to create a player, yet we don't want every time to create a player. We will just call that object from then and on after it is created.
All right. Thank you, Bernardo, for that great description of Java beans and static class variables. As we move on, we're going to talk about nested classes and what those are. All right, so a nested class, guys, is, one second here, a nested class is going to be a class inside of a class. Now, if you've ever seen the movie Inception, you'll remember this fact: a dream within a dream. Okay, what a nested class does is you have this class, all right, and you have another class that it needs to call, that your main class needs to call. But this class right here that your main class is calling is only used for this main class. No other classes are going to use it. So to make things simple, make code easier, more readable, easier to maintain, you're going to take this class and you're going to put it inside of the other class. And this class is going to be your nested class. It allows for encapsulation. It makes code easier to read and easier to maintain, and just overall helps the flow of your program. It doesn't have to reach out to another class. It can stay within the same class and call another class, I guess. So that's what a nested class does. Unfortunately, we don't have any examples for you right now of nested classes. We haven't gotten around to using any in our program. As soon as we find a place where we could use one, we will get right on that. The next thing we're going to explain is inheritance, and Bernardo is going to do that for us now. Yes.
Okay, so inheritance, I don't know if it was Brother Jackson or somebody else, but they made a generalization that all programmers are lazy. We don't like to write code over and over and over again. So a way for us to avoid writing same code over and over and over, we try to find functions and things that different objects will use or will have in common, and then we put that in a superclass, which will then allow us to use those same functions in different objects. So in this case, I'm going to show you guys our class main menu view, and unless I find NetBeans, there we go. So we have our main menu view. This menu is one of 5 different menus that we have, 4 different menus that we have in our application. And as you can see, we create our main menu view, which extends our superclass view. That's our class, which will have all those instances and functions that we normally use. And then we use the word super to be able to call those functions from our view superclass, which is in this case this one over here. So some of the functions that we have here are get input, display, and that's it for now. Get input and display. So those 2 functions are called in our main menu view, as well as our game menu view, as well as our help menu view. After the super, calling the super class, we can add whichever output we want to use, and that's basically what can change, or what changes out of all the other objects and instances.
Yes. All right, guys. We're almost done. Just bear with us. We got a couple more things to explain to you. First, we're going to start off with polymorphism, and then what an interface class is, and finally what an enum class is. Let me get back to where I can see you guys here. All right. So we're going to start off with polymorphism. Polymorphism is a big word, but what it pretty much means, it allows you to use functions within your class, and subclasses can use that same function, but they can change it to be their own. For example, if you want to display something, you don't have to create a display class over and over again. You can just call a display function over and over again. You can call that display function and then change it ever so slightly in each of your different classes. We do this with, I'm going to show you here. We're going to go back to our view, our main menu view. All right. Here in our main menu view, you'll notice that we have things called do action and start new. We have this do action here. Now in our interface, our view interface, we have a do action as well. This do action right here will let you call different menus, allow you to start the game, and it's pretty much your menu options. But if you look at some of our other views over here, for example, our help menu view, the do action is a little different. It only has one thing. That's polymorphism. It's using this same function in multiple things, but changing it to fit that specific class and allowing you to do that. Next, what we have is our interface. Now, if we go to our view interface over here, I'll show you what that is. This is a set of rules. Okay, you see, it's not very long for us. But these set of rules here says anything that's going to be in our view is going to have these things. It's going to have a display. It's going to have a get input, and it's going to have a do action. So every class we make will have to have these 3 things. This allows for easier maintainability while creating new parts or while developing new views and new things. You put this in there to make sure that there is a streamlined functionality. Everything's kind of the same as you go through. You're not going to have one class that's different than another class using different names, using different things. You're going to have these same functions, and you'll know exactly what they do because they are defined the same throughout your entire view. Next, what we got is an enum. class. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I hope I am.
Sounds right.
But what that is, that's going to be your constants throughout the game. Right now, our constants are pretty barren. We're going in. We're going to start creating different constants though. We were experimenting with orb because that's the example that was used in class. But these are things, for example, like days of the week. You're not going to have different days of the week. Those are going to be the same. So you can call these constants, and they're all stored in this constant. And our constants class is what's known as an enum class. Also, you know, days in or months in a year. Those are always going to be the same. You're still going to have February, March, April, May, June, July, and you can just put those in a constant and call those when those are necessary. Call those constants in your different programs, specifically in arrays where you'll need them. Things to be used in our program, there'll be inventory objects, map locations will be used. Those will be our constants. We don't have too many actors, but those are definitely constants too. Things that'll be the same throughout the game that we can just call, and that we'll need to call in multiple spots. But this way, we don't have to create a new list of objects in every class. We have our constants. That wraps everything up for me and Bernardo today. We hope you guys enjoyed everything we talked about. Hopefully we covered all our information. Got to give you a real peek at our program. Thank you for watching, and we hope you have a good day.